So we're just out at the beach having a bit of fun, and I was just thinking maybe it's time to make a video on that tough subject of our family and friends do not agree with our form of education. Let's have a chat about that, eh? Right, a brief overview of my background. I was brought up in a family of four, two parents, two kids. I have a sister who's 4 years older than me, and she just happens to be a school teacher. My mother is older, so she has a more sort of old school outlook on schooling and has her own ideals of the way it should be done. Obviously with my sister being a school teacher, she's got quite a traditional mindset as far as teaching goes, and so you can imagine that there's a bit of conflict at times about how we've chosen to educate our children. So I just wanted to touch on how to sort of deal with that, because I know, I read a lot of posts on Facebook about, oh, I really want to be doing unschooling or life learning with my children, but my parents or my grandparents don't agree, or somebody else in the family is not really on board with the idea. So I guess I just want to share how we've dealt with it and what we realized we had done wrong, or maybe could have done better, and hopefully it just gives you some encouragement to just keep going and stay true to your own convictions on how you choose to raise your children. See, one mistake we made is for the first year of choosing to unschool our children or create life, go down the life learning track, is that when family challenged what we were doing or questioned what we were doing, we would feel the need to justify. And we probably spent, I would say, the first year justifying why we are educating our children this way. And it was tiring. It's like I felt this need to prove that what we were doing was right. But to be honest, I probably wasn't entirely convinced myself at that stage, because I was still, we were just at the start of the unschooling journey. Now it's dead easy. We don't even have to, we don't really have to justify what we do anymore, because what's happening with the children is starting to speak for itself. So a key here to be aware of is that you may not see a lot of results at the start. You've got to remember, people are like, oh, they're 3 years old, they should be reading Encyclopedia Britannica by now. And I don't know what it is that people have this expectation when you're unschooling, that they almost put higher expectations on your children. And we get questions all the time, well, are they meeting the standards? It's interesting, actually, picking up on that point. There was an article in the New Zealand Herald yesterday, and was it in the New Zealand Herald? I can't remember, but it was on the news anyway, somewhere. And basically they have said that anxiety, children, youth anxiety has increased massively in New Zealand. And one of the contributing factors to that is the pressure to meet national standards at school. So I find that interesting that, one of the main questions we get asked is, well, are your children measuring up to the national standards? Are they, if you put them into school, would they be able to perform with the other children? And my simple answer to that these days is I don't actually care, because I can see the development of my children, but I see a much broader development. It's not limited to I can add 2 + 3 = 5, and stuff like that. It goes way beyond that, and I believe our children are life smart in a sense. I'm not a psychologist. I know nothing about child development. The only reason I'm making these videos is just to encourage some dads out there, hopefully, that might be struggling, or even some mums. It's like, there's plenty of situations, where mums are bringing their kids up on their own and are wanting to unschool, and sadly it's the dads that are fighting them on it. And come on, dads, oh my goodness, it's a great way for your children to learn. Just so you realise, I'm not speaking from, a dreadlocked hippies kind of free living with 2 children only perspective. I've come out of working the 9 to 5. I know what that's like. I have a 17-year-old daughter that's gone through the school system. I've watched her and her friends and understand how it's affected their lives. So I've got a pretty well-rounded view on education, schooling children and stuff like that. So yeah, I have a challenging family to deal with, you know. I know not everybody in our family or in Cindy's family agrees with the way we're educating our children, and that's okay. They're entitled to their opinion. You know, but as I said, our mistake was for the first year that we were continually trying to justify why we were doing this, and we don't need to, and neither do you. You know, if you're a parent and you have a child and you love your child, you have their best interest at heart. If I saw that there were absolutely no results from doing unschooling, then I would be revisiting, you know, sending our children to school. But what I see in their lives and the development and their understanding, they have such a broader understanding of life already at such a young age. So my mother grew up through a depression. She grew up when there were a lot of factory workers, or, you know, you were an administrator, a typist and stuff like that. So her understanding of education back then actually did fit with the times. Unfortunately, we're still, you know, living under that form of education and state schooling, and because of the way that life is moving forward, you know, I believe we're actually giving our children the advantage by giving them the freedom to delve into what it is they're passionate about. You know, I just look at the results for our children. I look at how happy they are. I look at the fact that every day they're wanting to learn new things. As they become older, they become more inquisitive, they're asking more questions. You know, just remember, at the end of the day, they're family and they're friends, and they just see life a little bit differently to you. You know, it doesn't mean they're wrong, doesn't mean they're right, you know, but at the end of the day, they're family. You know, unfortunately, you know, in our situation, my sister has chosen to have nothing to do with us. You know, she's not interested in the way we're educating our children. She's not interested in the lifestyle we live. She's removed herself from our lives, and that's been tough. And sadly, some of you people might find the same. But stick in there. It's hard. You know, try not to disown your family. You know, it's a sad thing when families break apart for silly reasons. Understand what it is you're doing. Why are you wanting to educate your children this way? Explain it to your family once, but don't fall into the trap that we did of spending a year justifying why you're doing what you're doing. I know it's not always easy, but, you know, try and surround yourself with people who are pursuing this form of education for their children as well. You know, we've got a website, learningcollective.nz. I'll put the website address below. Sign up on there if you're not already signed up. You know, we've got a bunch of unschooling, life learning, child-led learning families on there. You can get that support and that encouragement. You know, there's groups on there. You can create groups, get in there, and, you know, just surround yourself with like-minded people. If any of you have got some other ideas that, you know, you've probably been through this and come out the other end, please comment, let us know. You know, I am where I am at in this journey with our children. I don't have all the answers yet. I just know what's working for us and what I see working for other people. So don't be discouraged. Don't get frustrated. Don't feel the need to justify yourself. You know, just make it clear, make it simple, and then carry on doing what you're doing.